Okay, so till now we have we have covered what is EC2, basics of EC2. Okay, then we have seen the theory about options available in EC2. Then we have gone through the family of EC2 machine. What are the different type of EC2 machines available? So according to the use case, we have different family starting with F, I, G, H, T, D. Okay. Generally, we are going to use T family in our uh, throughout our syllabus. We are going to use T family, that is T2 micro. It is under free tier. And general purpose, there is M family, there is C family, which are more general purpose EC2 machine, which can be used on a regular basis. So if you want to remember, you can just create any synonyms and try to remember the type of EC2 machine available in AWS. Then we have seen, we have gone to the lab. We have seen how we can create EC2 machines. So we have covered till here. Now we talk about how we can create EC2 machine, right? So we talk about we required RAM, we required CPU, that is EC2 instance type basically. Then we have selected the storage. So we will step by step learn how we are going to create. So OS, right now we have used default OS which is provided by Amazon, that is Linux 2. Okay, Linux 3 you can 2023 you can use, but I recommend right now to use Linux 2. Then we selected the type T2 micro, it's default. Key value pair, it's the security key which you can use while connecting to your EC2 machine, so that no other person can log into your machine. It is type it is type of pass which allow you to log into your EC2 machine. Networking, we talk about security group. It's right. So what type of basically security group is what type of traffic do you want to allow? What is the protocol you want to allow to your EC2 machine? So for Linux, we have created a security group which has port 22, port HTTP, and HTTPS as we to be allowed. For Windows machine, it is RDP. That is, so you have to create another security group and allow RDP. Okay, you can update this one as well, or you can create a new security group for Windows. So port 22, Windows server doesn't connect with on port 22. It has different port, that is RDP port. Then we have storage. So today we are going to learn about storage. What are the different type of storage? What are the property? Okay, and how we can add different storage. How can we modify the different storage on the fly? Okay, so in EC2 machine, what type of storage do you think it will require? It will be a block storage or it will be a object storage? What type of storage will be attached to the EC2 machine? What do you think that what type of storage will be attached or required in EC2 machine? This is a machine, right? You are running an OS. We talk about when we are running OS, when we are running any application, what type of storage is required? It required a block storage. It required block storage. So now we can't use S3 to support our EC2 machine. First of all, we required a primary hard disk. Just like in your local system, you required a hard disk on which you can install your OS, you can install your application, and if required, you can store your data as well. That is your hard disk. And the property of hard disk is it will be a block storage. Okay, so every EC2 machine required a root device that will be a block storage, and you need to uh, add a default storage. Okay, so what do we call the block storage in cloud? So we have EBS volume. Okay, we have EBS volumes. Now what is EBS? So Amazon EBS is again a storage service. It's a block storage service. So the first storage service we have learned till now was S3, right? In S3 we can store the data, but can we install any application on S3? No. But we talk about that on block storage we can install any application, we can install OS, we can run applications, right? So we are talking about EC2 machine now. EC2 machine required at least one hard disk on which you can install your application and softwares, right? So that's where EBS comes in picture. So it's a default storage, it's a root storage for that machine. It is a block storage on which your application and software will be installed. So Elastic Block Storage allow you to create storage volume and attach them to your EC2 machine. Simple. Once attached, you create a file system on top of you can create a file system on top of that this volume. You can run a database, you can install application, or you could store files or use it anywhere that you would use a block storage. It's as similar to as your local storage. It's but it's a virtual disk. Again, it's a block storage, but it's a virtual block storage similar to your uh, data type, EC2 machine type. Okay, so similar to RAM and CPU. So you're not going to get a actual physical hardware attached. You will be getting a part of that. So EC2 machines are virtual devices, as we have covered previously. EBS volume are placed in specific availability zone where they are automatically replicated to protect you from failure of a single component. Okay, so let me know. I told you that EC2 machines are region specific as well as it is availability zone specific, right? So let's say you have created your EC2 machine. Okay, you are creating a EC2 machine and you are creating that machine in availability zone A. What do you think? The EBS volume should be in the same availability zone or it can be in different availability zone? Tell me. The EBS volume which is going to attach on your EC2 machine should be on a same availability zone or it can be in different availability zone as well. We have talked about this. So while creating the EC2 machine, if you are selecting your EC2 machines to be spin up in availability zone A, okay, the data center of availability zone A, you should select or the hard disk or EBS volume should be in the same availability zone. Why? Because of latency. You are running OS on top of this EBS volume. You are installing your application. So if you are creating your EBS volume far from your EC2 machine, that is from RAM and CPU, you will have a great latency and your system will work slowly. So ideally, the EBS volumes are in the same availability zone of your RAM and CPU. EBS volume, the storage device, the virtual storage device in cloud are in the same availability zone as of your EC2 machine, RAM and CPU. Okay, any question? So while creating your EC2 machine, okay, I told you that we are not selecting right now the availability zone, but Amazon gives you option to select any availability zone. So you can see availability zone AP South 1A, AP South 1B, AP South 1C. We are going to select and we are going to see how we can do that. But whatever the availability zone you have selected or Amazon has selected for you, I you have a choice. You can give Amazon. So you have an option that do you want to select any availability zone. If not, Amazon will create select any random availability zone for you. Okay. If you want that my EC2 machine should be in AP South 1 B, then you can select from here. Go to network settings, click on edit. It will show you the option to select a availability zone. The storage device or EBS volume on which you are going to install your OS and application will be in the same availability zone. Why it should be in same availability zone? If you are moving your storage away from your RAM and CPU, then there will be a latency and your application or OS will work slowly. Okay, so here you can configure, you can see advanced option, you can click here and you can select couple of options which we are going to cover right now. So what are the options available? Before that, are we clear what is EBS volume? Are we clear what is EBS volumes? Okay. So the next part is type of EBS volume. So till now we have understood that EBS volume is a virtual storage device in cloud. It is a block storage on which your application and OS will install. But according to your use case, according to your requirement, Amazon has 5 type of EBS volume, starting with general purpose. General purpose EBS volume means it is a best use. It is a best or regular basis EBS volume. Okay, it balance out your pricing as well as performance. It has a good performance as well as pricing. If you are not sure how your application is going to work or what is your requirement right now, so you can just go with the general purpose. Okay, it has a ratio of 3 IOPS per gigabyte with up to 13,000 IOPS and the ability to burst up to 3,000 IOPS for extended period of time for a volume at 3334 gigabytes and above. So I will explain you what is IOPS and what this represent. Okay. Now, how many of you know about throughput and IOPS? Do you have idea about throughput? What is throughput? What is IOPS? Let's take example. Okay. So this is a tank. This is a water tank. Okay. And this is another water tank. And you want to transfer water from this big one to small one. Okay. You have to do that task. You have two-person. One is adult and other is child. You have two-person to do this task. You have given both of them a bucket. Now, chi- the child can run between this tank, let's say in 2 minutes, but he or she is able to take only 5 liter of water at a time. Okay, he can walk between the tank in 2 minutes and can take up to 5 liters. But the adult, he takes 3 minutes to cover. He walks slowly, but he can take 15 liters of water. Now tell me, who is more efficient? Who is transferring more water? So the person, the adult, in one go is transferring 15 liter of water in 3 minutes. So per minute, how much it is transferring? 5 liter per minute, you can say. But you can see the child, he is transferring 2.5 liter per minute. But he can walk or run faster, but and with less capacity. Okay, the small person runs faster. This he is fast, but can carry only less amount of water. But the other person, the adult, he runs slowly compared to the child, but can take more water. So you can compare IOPS and throughput. So what is IOPS? First of all, IOPS. Okay. So what is IOPS in general? Input output per second. So how many times or how many parallel transaction you can do on your hard disk? Okay, so your hard disk, when you are reading and writing, how many transactions, how many requests can you put on your hard disk parallelly? Okay, that is IOPS. So how many parallel requests can be executed on your hard disk? So according to this IOPS, your performance of your hard disk is defined. Then comes throughput. What is throughput? In single IOPS, in single IOPS means in single request, how much amount of data can you transfer? Okay, in a single request, how much amount of data can you write or read out of your hard disk? That is throughput. Okay, so let's take example. You have a one hard disk which has 1000 IOPS and 50 MB throughput. So what is the capacity of this hard disk? What is the capacity of this hard disk? 50 multiply 1000, okay, equal to 50,000 MB per second. This is a speed of read and write of your data per second. Okay, it's a combination of both. Second, there is a hard disk with 100 IOPS, but it can write mm, let's say 5 GB data per second. So what is the it- performance of this hard disk? 100 multiply 5000 MB. Okay, that is 5000 something like this MB per second. So the combination of IOPS and throughput defines the performance of your hard disk. Okay, now in which case you should have a high through IOPS, or in which case you should have a high throughput. So when you are working parallelly, when your hard disk needs to write things parallelly, then you should go with the high IOPS. Okay, if you have to write n number of things parallelly, okay, then high IOPS should be recommended. If you are writing a huge amount of data, okay, so in that case throughput should be on your priority, that is IOPS versus throughput. So combination of this defines your performance of your hard disk. It can be your local hard disk, it can be your EBS volume. So now you can go back at home and check your local hard disk, what is its IOPS. Or when you are going to purchase a hard disk, so they will show you what is their IOPS and what is their throughput, how much amount of data can you write per second, how much amount of data. It's a combination of IOPS plus throughput. Okay, now general purpose has 13,000 IOPS. General purpose hard disk support 13,000 parallel read and request per second. And if required, you can get additional 3,000 IOPS for a small period of time. Okay, if required. Next, so I will explain you how it is done. Next is provisional IOPS. What is a provisional? It's the next category of your EBS volume. It is the next category of your EBS volume, which is designed for high IOPS intense workload or application, where you want to write and read more. There are more requests to read and write. Okay, so it starts with 16,000 IOPS and can go up to 64,000, and nowadays they are going up to 26 2,56,000 IOPS. Okay, so if you have a more read and write requests, then you should go with provisional IOPS. It is costly, it has more charges as compared to your general purpose, but it gives more performance or more speed to write the data in your EBS volume. Okay, now I will give an example to you. Let me know what is your thought in this two scenario. What should you use? Which hard disk should you use in this scenario? So let's say this is your you have created a website, or you created a um, news website on your EC2 machine. You created a application, or let's say you have a application running on EC2 machine for your news blogging website. We are going to host a website on EC2 machine uh, in our next session. But as of now, just assume that you are running a website, and on a daily basis, this is 7 a.m., this is 8 a.m., this is 9 a.m., this is 10 a.m. This is a graph of your time versus traffic. So 5,000, 5K, then 10K, then 13K, then 16K, then 20K. Okay, this is the traffic on your EC2 machine, on your website. Okay, so on a regular basis, your traffic is somewhere here. But as soon as 8 o'clock, 8 to 9 p.m. AM, your traffic gets started shooting up, and it is peak at 9, and it goes up to here. Okay, and it goes over the 2000 IOPS at 10 o'clock and then come back. So your traffic can go up to 2000 IOPS, right? So let me show you one more thing. So at 9 p.m., you see a surge in your traffic, and your traffic can come back to 12,000. If this is a scenario, what should you use? You should use general purpose, or you should use provision one. आपकी एक न्यूज़ वेबसाइट है जहाँ पे लोग न्यूज़ पढ़ने आते हैं. In the morning, you find the traffic is increasing, and at 9 p.m. you are getting the maximum traffic, and there is a spike in the traffic. Okay, spike means the number of people concurrently accessing your website increase suddenly, but that spike is of couple of minutes, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that's it. Then again it settle down, and it is coming down to 12,000, and spike is going up to 15,000, that's it. This is of 15,000, and this is for 1 minute. So in this scenario, what should you use? You should use general purpose, or you should use provision one. What type of hard disk should you use? And again, this is a type of questions are asked in exam. So as the spike is quite low, means it is just for couple of minutes, and it is not going beyond 16,000. First of all, your general purpose IOPS has 13,000. Your general purpose EBS volume, it supports up to 13,000 IOPS by default. So if your traffic is below 13,000 on an average, it should work fine. But if it's going beyond 13,000, then it will stop responding. Any request coming after 13,000, it will not entertain, and you will get an error that your EC2 machine is slow. Okay, so what to do in that scenarios? You have to understand that how long the spike is coming. Is your traffic is coming for longer period of time, or it's coming for shorter period of time? So in this scenario right now, I have shown you that the traffic is coming for a shorter period of time, and Amazon will give you additional 3,000 boost. Okay, 3,000 IOPS for a small period of time. Okay, to handle this type of peaks, spikes in your application. So it can handle up to 3000 additional IOPS. Okay. Now, if you have a other scenario where your traffic is going beyond 13,000 and it is saturating there for a longer period of time. So in this scenario, you should not use general purpose. You should use provision one, because after 13,000 Amazon, and after a smaller period of time, Amazon is not going to give you the boost, and your request or the user will not able to access the data or access your website. They will get an error. Okay. So in that case, you should use provision IOPS. Am, am I audible? Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. 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 Am I audible? Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Hello.